What's up? It's Alexander Madison, running back from the Minnesota Vikings, and you're watching Clock Management.
Knocked down. Oh, he caught it! Oh, unbelievable! This is amazing. So you played in the NFL. What's longer, a half or 5/8? Or 5/8 is a little longer there, Joe.
Your team is now on the clock. What's going on, everybody? It is January 24th, 2020. I'm your host, Justin, and as always, I'm joined by my co-host, Perry.
Hey, what is up, Justin? I was thinking, I'm pretty broke right now, and you've been spending so much time on my mind, I should start charging you rent.
Oh, shoot. I'm going to owe you a lot, aren't I?
Yeah, you are. You're taking up residence right now.
And that's prime real estate.
Oh yeah. There's lots of football knowledge that could be in there right now, but you're just in there, man. You're dwelling. So we're gonna have to talk about how much that's gonna cost.
Dang. Yeah, I'm gonna have to take out a loan or something, but I'll make it right.
All right.
I'll pay you with the jersey.
Okay, deal.
So this is exciting for me because there's no football on, so I really went in deep on the news no one cares about this week.
Nice. Yeah, and I've got a few just like interesting topics that we can cover, some stuff that's relevant within the news, some stuff nobody's talking about, and maybe we could and should be the first people to talk about it.
And will.
Okay.
What's going Super Bowl plans. What are you doing we got our show coming out for the Super Bowl, obviously pre-Super Bowl. But
yeah.
During,
I'll be with you at my brother's house, probably rooting for the Chiefs. I don't know. It's really hard. I want to see the 49ers lose because, you. And
Thank you.
But I don't want the Chiefs to win because they're in the AFC West, and the only team that wins Super Bowls in the AFC West is the Broncos. So, I don't know. That's going to be a rough day, but I'll be hanging out with you at my brother's, probably eating some food, drinking a few beers.
Yeah, I will be drinking either way during this game. I expect it to be close, which means I'll probably be heavily drinking. And then at the end of the game, I'll either be celebrating or drinking my sorrows away. So,
well, I'm not driving you home, so you better bring a sleeping bag.
Oh, no, I'm just going to steal your brother's bed.
Nice. Nice. I don't think he listens to the show, so he'll have no idea.
Yeah. Oh, man. So should we just get right into the meat and butter of this?
Yeah, let's get right into the meat and butter. Well, why don't you actually open up with the news nobody cares about today, since I've got a few topics that we're going to delve into here.
I love it. All right, so the news no one cares about. Like I said, I went full ham on this.
Full ham.
Yeah, it's hard as a
meatloaf.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I didn't know where I was going with that.
No, I knew where I was going. So,
so the NFL draft is announced in Vegas to be on the waters of the Bellagio, and they're going to boat the draft picks to the stage.
Yeah, so this is actually a little bit of a misconception. The whole draft doesn't take place on the water, right? There is the boat, you're right, and they'll take the players across. But then they get into a car, and they drive the car down the street to this big, huge facility that they've created in a parking lot. So, yeah, I thought the same thing. I was like, that sounds ridiculous.
It still sounds pretty ridiculous.
But for Vegas, it might be just standard.
I know, but I'm like, you have no idea how bad I'm hoping someone falls into the water.
Oh yeah, 100%, and I hope it's Roger Goodell. Fight me, Roger Goodell. Fight me.
You and every person who will be there. I love how much he gets booed at every draft.
Well, he's terrible, so.
Yeah.
Anyways. What else you got?
Okay, yeah, moving on. Second piece of news no one cares about. Did you see this? I forgot what it was on, but they had an interview with Donovan McNabb, talking about how he was saying Terrell Owens tore their team apart, and then Terrell Owens came right back on Twitter
Yeah, I did see that.
But and I don't know if you watched the whole thing with him, but he also addressed the rumors of him puking during the Super Bowl.
Yep. Yep.
He says that's not true. So
Donovan McNabb, that is, yeah.
yeah, yeah.
I think my take on this is that Terrell Owens.
Oh,
Literally, this was the happiest he's been in years because he's officially back in the news, and that's all Terrell Owens has ever wanted.
yeah, yeah. Absolutely. He is like, finally someone is talking about me and making me relevant again.
Yep.
Man. Yeah, as a 49er, I was so disappointed with how his career turned out.
I think he probably is a top 3 talent all time. But his career management obviously is very low, and it just completely stunted what could have been one of the greatest wide receivers in NFL history.
Yeah. And speaking of Antonio Brown, recently arrested and then placed bail and told he has to get mental care by the judge.
Right.
And is actually facing life in prison.
That's not going to happen.
No, absolutely not. But the fact that that's even on the table is crazy.
Yeah, I've been doing a lot of reading into this, and it was actually something that I wanted to talk to you about today. And the reason that he's facing a possibility of life in prison is because a bunch of extra charges have been added on where they got really, really nitpicky. So when it comes to a plea deal later, they can say, well, we're going to take all this stuff off the table, and you have to go do X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
Right. So he's not going to do life in prison. That's obvious.
Yeah.
But I think the one really good thing is going to come of this, and I think you know exactly what I'm going to say, and that's that Antonio Brown is going to be seeing a counselor. There is serious brain damage going on there, and he has never been the same since that Vontaze Burfict hit, and I think that hit changed his life.
So I was talking to people about this at work today because someone was like, man, they're like, that guy's stupid. I'm like, no, he's not stupid.
He's sick.
He has traumatic brain injuries, multiple that he has never treated for, and they're like, from what? And I'm like, Vontaze Burfict, and then I showed him the video of it, and he's like, oh my god.
Yeah. That man changed Antonio Brown's entire life.
And several other players in the NFL.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And we've made it very clear how I feel about him. But I guess the thing I wanted to bring up is with him going and seeing a mental health professional, there is a chance that Antonio Brown gets the correct care that he needs to balance him out. And he could return to a more normal way of life mentally, which means he could play football again, right?
Absolutely. Now, I think the fact that he's getting help will help him get signed to a team.
Right. So my question to you, with the fact that he'll be 32 years old this year, he still has suspensions looming, that all these current issues will be taken into account. I'm thinking he's going to get at least 10 games, possibly more. Do you think that he will get signed, assuming he gets this help and he becomes more balanced? Do you think he'll get signed and play in the NFL again?
Yes.
You do?
And assume, I think you're too confident in the NFL handling this in a mature and a responsible manner with a 10-game suspension. I would not be shocked at all if he had a 2-game suspension.
Oh, wow. I don't know if I go that far.
The media about the reason why the suspension would exist has been non-existent as of late, and I think that will affect their decision that there's not media covering it.
So, I don't think that you're wrong, but I guess I would, if I were a betting man, I would have to bet that he probably won't play in the NFL again. And the reason is Des Bryant. Des Bryant had his own issues, but all the legal issues didn't exist with Des Bryant. Des Bryant was just a locker room headache.
Yeah, but Des Bryant had a serious injury as well.
That's true with the Saints there.
Yeah.
Oh man, so did Antonio Brown with the frozen feet. I don't know.
I have a hard time calling that a serious injury just because it's so funny. I can't call it a serious injury. It's a hilarious injury.
Okay, well then I'll pose one more question here. Let's assume that yes, he does get signed again. Mm-hmm. Is he fantasy relevant? Is he good? Is he the Antonio Brown that we got used to seeing?
No.
Or even 80% of that Antonio Brown?
I would say he could be. It depends where he gets signed to, first of all. But I think signed in the right spot, he could be 80%. But I don't think you'll ever see him back to the player he was.
Yeah.
And if he signed in the wrong spot, he could be completely irrelevant.
Yeah. Do you think he'll play in 2020?
I do.
Well, I have him in Dynasty sitting there in a IR spot, so I hope you're right. Anyways, okay. Go on then.
Okay.
More news nobody cares about.
Oh, man. So this one, it's not even on any website you're going to find or any sports thing. So last night I found myself up late and I was watching David Spade's show he has that comes on at like midnight. It's a weird show. But anyway, the Philadelphia hockey team, I don't even know what they're called, but their
Flyers. The Flyers.
Their mascot is being sued for punching an 11-year-old. And like they made a joke on there like, come on, this has to be the best case scenario for Philadelphia sports fans here. I'm like, and it just reminded me about how we were talking about how horrible, I edited myself there, Philadelphia sports fans can be. Like, I don't get why they're like because apparently the 11-year-old was messing with the mascot and stuff, and eventually he had enough and just punched him.
Here's my reaction to that. That mascot just did what we've all wanted to do at some point in our lives. I don't care how good you are. At some point, you've wanted to punch an 11-year-old. There's been a moment where that kid was literally asking you to do it, and you didn't because you're a good adult. So
as a mascot, it's kind of funny. So
yeah, I mean, if I had a mascot uniform on, I might embrace the comedy. But
yeah,
oof.
Man. Without the mascot, it's child abuse.
Yeah.
With the mascot, it's kind of funny.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
Okay. And then I got two things left. So I just went and grabbed two quotes that I missed throughout the year because there's an article on the best quotes from the 2019 football season. So the first one was Bill Belichick the day before football season started. And his quote was, "I like football. I like football season and all the things that go with it." That was the full quote.
Man, that's a long interview for him, actually.
I know. And he really, it's a really telling interview for him. He normally doesn't like to give away anything about how he's feeling.
Right. So, yeah, he did give up 3 feelings there. So, yeah. Good for him.
And then this other one. So before the season started, Madden came out with their rankings on players, and players are always upset about their rankings on there and how they're rated. One of those players was Lamar Jackson because he didn't like how his speed rating, and then I think it was 2 months into the season, Madden updated him and gave him a speed rating of a 96, which is the highest speed rating that a quarterback has ever been given in Madden. And Lamar Jackson's quote on this is, "It's still too low."
Oh my God. Oh my God. There's no way he's faster than Mike Vick. There is no way.
I don't even know if he was faster than RG3 in his prime.
No. His prime. RG3's prime.
Yeah.
That's
college.
funny. Yeah.
I actually think Kaepernick's faster than him too.
Yeah, maybe. That's funny though.
Yeah.
Oh man. Okay.
He might be I think he's the fastest active starting quarterback though.
Yeah, I'm just thinking about that, and yeah, probably. Yeah, probably. Pat Mahomes is pretty fast, but I don't think he's Lamar fast.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Okay. He's the fastest quarterback currently playing. All right. So I have some news that jumps all over the place. I'm all over the place here with my news today. But and in regards to the Super Bowl, the only piece of news I actually have two. First one's Travis Kelce. He officially returned to practice today. That's great news. I know a lot of people are a little concerned about his knee, if he's going to be able to get out there at full strength. I think, honestly, it's just been maintenance with this extra week off. Travis Kelce is a 100% go. Totally fine. He'll be playing in the Super Bowl, and he will be a factor in the Super Bowl for sure.
And on our pre-Super Bowl show, we will be having the student doc back on to talk about injuries for both these teams, too. So I'm sure he'll cover that as well.
Right. The other piece of news, injury news for the Super Bowl is Tevin Coleman. I did not think this guy would be playing.
I know it looked bad.
So it was a dislocated shoulder. He's been seen as of Thursday. He was running on the sideline at practice. There's a chance that Coleman suits up for the Super Bowl, although I don't see him being a huge factor. He's not somebody that I'm going to use as a sneaky start in the playoff challenge for the Super Bowl. Raheem Mostert is probably the guy on that team still.
Yeah.
But I do think that as of right now, Raheem Mostert has the highest ranking of the skill position players in the Super Bowl for the playoff challenge. And I don't really agree with that call.
I don't either. I think there's wide receivers out there that should be over him.
Even possibly tight ends. Yeah. So my recommendation to all you guys is don't fall in that trap. Even if Raheem Mostert has a good day, a lot of people are going to own him, and that's just going to cancel out, right? If both of you own Raheem Mostert and he scores 4 touchdowns again, neither of you gained anything.
Yeah, if there's 10 of you, then all 10 of you are sitting in the same spot as each other.
Yeah. I actually like Damian Williams a lot this weekend. I think that he'll probably find the end zone. He'll play a big part. He catches the ball well out of the backfield as well. But yeah, I agree with Justin. I think some wide receivers are probably better options for the playoff challenge.
And like you said, I think you have better tight ends, even plural. I think there's 2 tight ends that are better options.
Yeah. This, and even into next season with Raheem Mostert, I said it last episode, sell in Dynasty Raheem Mostert. He's a good player. That's fine. But there are 3 good running backs on that team, and he's just one of them. And next season, he'll still just be one of them. So they will not just rely on Raheem Mostert to get them 4 touchdowns, 220 yards every game. So just keep that in mind. Temper your expectations. All right, let's get into some news that isn't related to the Super Bowl. Dak Prescott's extension with the Cowboys is a top priority right now in the offseason. I personally think there is no way that Dak does not sign with the Cowboys. Do you think he could go someplace else?
I don't, but I do think that with him signing with the Cowboys, that's going to make it extremely difficult to keep Amari Cooper with the Cowboys.
Right, which is my next piece of news here. If Dak does sign the contract that people are kind of expecting to be around $30 million per year, I don't know how they're going to pay Amari too, because they're already paying Zeke a huge amount of money. All their money is going to be tied up in these 3 guys. If they sign Amari Cooper, all their money is tied up in these 3 guys.
You're just going to watch teams vulture their offensive line after that.
Yep. It's going to be very similar to what happened with the Rams this year, paying Todd Gurley, paying Jared Goff all that money. They are now not a very good team. The Rams aren't. And I know we like to think of the Rams as a super hyper talented team. And while they had some very talented people in key positions, they also had an awesome offensive line, a very strong defense, and that's why the Rams were good. And now we're seeing they can't afford all their players anymore because they paid Todd Gurley and they paid Jared Goff. All of a sudden, they're not making the playoffs anymore. So
Yeah, I think that's going to be the downfall of their team.
Yep. As for next year, though, I still love Dak Prescott. I still love Amari Cooper, and I still love Zeke. I think they're still all good for fantasy, but if the Cowboys want to win championship,
I actually think that you'll see a slight increase in their value with McCarthy there instead of Jason Garrett.
Yeah, I like Amari a lot with McCarthy coming in. So Amari Cooper.
Man, I've heard people talking about under McCarthy, if you think Zeke will still be a bell cow running back or if he'll do a running back by committee because he's done that in before. I'm like, do you guys not remember Eddie Lacy?
I mean, Eddie Lacy would be like a bell cow back for the first half. And I guess this will be a true test to see if it was because Eddie Lacy was out of shape and couldn't handle a full game, or if Mike McCarthy actually is just terrible at managing running backs, because it would be Eddie Lacy all the first half. He'd have like 6 yards a carry, be having a huge game. And then all of a sudden Eddie Lacy gets 3 carries in the second half. So
yeah, I do think that was more based on Eddie Lacy's conditioning.
I think so as well, but I mean, this will be a really good test to see if that's true.
Also, I think more importantly, Jerry Jones is still there and still running that team. And after he paid Zeke, I don't think McCarthy will have an option but to play Zeke.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, moving on here to a guy we haven't talked about in a couple months, Justin. AJ Green. Right now, the Bengals are saying it is a top priority to re-sign AJ Green.
This is shocking for me.
Yeah, 32 years old, has played 9 games in the last 2 seasons. Now, I think AJ Green's a talented wide receiver, and if he can become healthy and remain healthy, he'll be a factor on that team. But the issue is he's 32 years old, and I don't know if he can become healthy and remain healthy.
Because he's never done it.
And on a very bad team, let's be honest, the Bengals are terrible. Their priority needs to be bringing in talent, young talent, and building for a future.
I think everyone is convinced that they're signing Burrows with the first overall pick, or taking him.
And if they don't, they're completely hopeless.
Yeah.
Exactly. Burrow is the guy that needs to go, and we'll talk about him all offseason because I really like him as a fantasy option as well. But AJ Green is not going to help there, right? They need to be fostering John Ross, drafting Burrow and fostering him. They need to let AJ Green go. He could be franchised for the 2020 season, but if he doesn't play again or gets hurt, that's a huge waste. I think they need to just cut ties with AJ Green. As much as I like him as a player, right now he's an anchor on that roster.
Yeah, exactly. On a team that is
not a good way.
This team isn't winning a championship next year.
No. So when I say anchor, I don't mean anchor in a good way. I mean like he is just dragging them down. So it is his salary.
Yeah, exactly, and that they could use to, like you said, bring in some younger talent that they could develop over years.
Absolutely. Okay, here's one, and I think we've had this discussion on the show before, Justin, but we're gonna have it again right now. Eli Manning officially announces his retirement today.
I was hoping you would bring this up.
Eli Manning finishes his career with 366 touchdown passes and 2 Super Bowl MVPs. He had 117 wins and 117 losses. Is Eli Manning a first ballot Hall of Famer?
No. And in my opinion,
I think he is.
In my opinion, he's not a Hall of Famer. But I don't think he will. I don't think he'll be a first ballot, but he's going to make it in. And I don't think he deserves to be in the Hall of Fame.
Terry Bradshaw, Warren Moon, Jim Kelly, Ken Stabler, Troy Aikman, Len Dawson, Bart Starr, Steve Young, and Bob Greasy are all Hall of Famers. And Eli Manning has more wins than all of them.
He also has more losses than most of them.
All of them.
Yeah. Okay. I was gonna say I didn't know the exact numbers, but like another number people talk about, he has the fifth most touchdowns in NFL history. But he has the most interceptions in NFL history, and it's not by a small margin. So his touchdown to interception ratio is horrible. It's worse than like his touchdown to interception ratio is worse than Trubisky's. Uh, and I mean, Trubisky hasn't been around for very long, but he's been known as a horrible quarterback most his career, and yet Eli's played worse than him. In the one of the Super Bowls, Eli was Super Bowl MVP. I believe he had 19 completions on 36 attempts, 2 touchdowns, an interception, and under 250 yards passing. But he was the Super Bowl MVP. Like, he didn't win that game.
I think Eli Manning should and will be a Hall of Famer, right? I think that if Eli Manning had retired 4 years sooner, this discussion would be a whole lot easier for him. He was on a lot of very, very bad teams in the last 4 or 5 years. He was winning game after game after game in the first like 6 to 7 years of his career. He kept Tom Brady from 8 Super Bowls, so I think a lot of people can thank him for that.
Yeah, Tom Brady said, did you see that? Tom Brady tweeted out, he is like, congratulations on your retirement, though I wish you never won a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
But no, I disagree with you. People talking about him if it were 4 or 5 years ago, because that's something else that I've been seeing people say. But 3 years ago, he was playing with Odell Beckham Jr. and then like, and Saquon Barkley, like 2 of the best players in the NFL.
He only got Saquon last year.
Yeah.
And we did just have the discussion about the Cowboys and the Rams, and it doesn't matter how much talent you have in the 3 positions that we always talk about with fantasy if the rest of the team is a dumpster fire, which was the case. It's been the case for the Giants for a long time.
Yeah, but he's had talent on the team. I think that was their coaching. It's not that he is on a bad team. It's that they had bad coaching and GMs. Well, they still have a bad GM and coach. So,
yeah.
But also with Eli, like it's like if we didn't bring up the last 4 or 5 seasons and we're just talking about, it'd be an easier discussion. Well, sure, if we cut out 4 bad seasons from a player, he's going to look better.
But I'm not cutting those out. I think even with those seasons, he should definitely be a Hall of Famer.
I don't think so. I think like you look at like Andrew Luck. I don't think Andrew Luck's going to Hall of Fame. I don't think most people would say Andrew Luck is. Well, I know they won't because I ran a Twitter poll on that. As 96% said no. I ran a poll on Eli Manning, whether he'd be a first ballot Hall of Famer, and it was about 50%. But I think when I look at who belongs in the Hall of Fame, I'm looking at like let's say if you were to put Andrew Luck and Eli side by side, which one of these guys would I rather have if I was making a team? I'm choosing Andrew Luck. And that's sad to say that Eli's going to make it in the Hall of Fame, but Andrew Luck won't. Eli, what he did was he was a starting quarterback for, 16 years in the NFL? And that's why he's making it into the Hall of Fame.
He was a starting quarterback for a long time. He's also 2-time Super Bowl champion, 2-time Super Bowl MVP, 4-time Pro Bowler, Walter Payton Man of the Year, Bart Starr Award, Maxwell Award, Johnny Unitas Golden Arm Award, and SEC Offensive Player of the Year 2003 in college. That's a lot of accolades for a player. There's players that played for a long time too.
The Pro Bowl, they choose 2 quarterbacks, one from each division, or I think they choose 3 actually, because they have 2 backups for the Pro Bowl. And per like 1 for AFC, 1 or 3 AFC, 3 NFC, and you have a total of 16 teams. So he's got pretty good odds of getting that out of 16 years a couple times.
He's not the best quarterback to ever play the game, but all the awards I mean, 117 wins. I know he had 117 losses, 2 Super Bowls. If there's no way that he should be kept out of the Hall of Fame.
I don't think the way that it's graded he will, or the way they look at it. But my point is, I think quarterbacks get in there disproportionately. I don't think every quarterback in there belongs in the Hall of Fame, and I think he'll become one of those quarterbacks that I don't believe belongs there that will be in there. Because any other position, you have to be like one of the most dominant players in your position for multiple years to make it into the Hall of Fame. But if you're a quarterback, you have to be on a Super Bowl winning team and you're in the Hall of Fame.
I mean, yeah, I guess that's sort of the case. I'm trying to think of quarterbacks that won Super Bowls that didn't make it in.
I was looking at it. There's not many. I want to say there was like 4 quarterbacks that from like Super Bowl champion teams in the last within 20 years, a 20-year time frame that didn't.
Yeah, Matt Hasselbeck didn't win. Matt Hasselbeck, did he win one with Green Bay?
Oh, I don't know if
or
he did.
He went to 2, maybe.
I just remember he lost in Seattle.
Yeah, he lost in Seattle, and did he lose one in Green Bay?
I can't remember.
Not sure. Yeah, I think that Eli Manning, when it comes down to it, talent-wise, is probably towards the lower end of Hall of Fame quarterbacks. But I do think that the fact that he won 2, it is so hard to win 2. The percentage of quarterbacks that have won 2 Super Bowls is so low.
Yeah, I believe there's 12 quarterbacks that have won 2 or more.
That's crazy. That's that's a small number. I just think that alone probably pushes him in, probably first or second ballot.
Yeah, I think he'll be second ballot.
Yeah. Okay, let's move on. I got one more thing I wanted to talk about, and it's going to be really weird to talk about it because we're so early on. We're not even into the 2020 season yet, technically, because the Super Bowl is still 1 week away. But there are some early rankings here that I found very, very shocking when I was working on a few things today, and I wanted to get your opinion. So first one here is Melvin Gordon. Melvin Gordon right now is currently ranked the 16th best running back, a 4th tier running back, probably getting Melvin Gordon like the 4th or 5th round. Is that ridiculous?
Yeah, but I think that it's reasonable right now because you don't know where Melvin Gordon's playing next year. So I think that's just kind of like putting him back a little bit in the draft until you figure that out. So once he goes to a team, I think you can expect to see that rise. Depending on where he goes will depend on how much it rises, but I think it's going up no matter where he signs.
Yeah, let me pull up the rankings, actually. I wish I would have kept it open, but let's see, 2020 and running back. Okay, so the people that are ahead of Melvin Gordon, Miles Sanders currently.
Yeah, no.
Austin Eckler is currently ahead of Melvin Gordon.
I actually agree with that.
Probably.
Yeah,
maybe?
Just because he's going to be there. Well, I mean, I guess it depends if who comes in to replace Phillip Rivers, as it's pretty sure Phillip Rivers won't be there.
Here's the one that really, really bothered me. Todd Gurley is currently ranked 12th, while Melvin Gordon is ranked 16th.
That's insulting.
Yeah, that's crazy to me. Do not draft Todd Gurley ahead of Melvin Gordon. And
probably just don't draft Todd Gurley.
Yeah, honestly. Unless he's like your 4th running. If you can get him as like your 4th running back.
Yeah,
sure.
absolutely.
Or even maybe your 3rd. I think I'd be okay with that. But anyways, we can talk about that all off. Next guy I want to talk about with a crazy ranking in my mind, or maybe it is. I'm not sure, actually. This one I was a little insecure about. Juju Smith-Schuster is the 18th ranked wide receiver currently going into 2020.
I don't know if I disagree.
Even with the possibility of Ben Roethlisberger coming back, which I know that's still up in the air. Juju Smith-Schuster, man, I mean, we're a season removed from Juju being possibly the best wide receiver in the league. Like, that wasn't a crazy topic for people to bring up. Yeah. And now it's almost like, is he even draftable?
But this was, I mean, last year in the offseason, this was my exact concern was I wasn't sure if he was ready to take that step to get those number one coverages and be the guy without getting the double team pulled over to AB. And he did not show us this year that he is. Now, hopefully he can take that step forward next year. But again, you're still sitting here wondering if he can.
Right. I'm actually this one. So the Melvin Gordon one, I felt a lot more passionate about. I feel like Melvin Gordon was far too low, and that he should be moved up quite a bit, at least 5 or 6 rankings. But the Juju one is weird to me. It's the reason I bring this up right now is because I think it's important for people that are serious about fantasy and their team next year is to remember that there was a time that Juju Smith-Schuster was this low ranked. Yeah. And there's reasons. There are reasons that he was ranked this low. So when you're looking, in
people are going to scoff at you when you're placing that low in your thing. It happened to me last year. People are like, "How do you not have him as the number 1 or 2 wide receiver?"
Right.
Because he hasn't done it.
Just remember in June and July when you were doing your own rankings that Juju Smith-Schuster was almost the 20th best wide receiver or ranked wide receiver right now. Right, going into the season, nothing has happened, right?
And I will remind you.
Yes, we will. I got one more, and this one I was really confused about. Adam Thielen is currently ranked 26th for wide receivers, 9 ranks behind Stephon Diggs.
What? That's crazy to me. I mean, I get a low ranking. That seems too low to me. And behind Stephon Diggs seems ridiculous to me.
People ahead of Adam Thielen right now, Julian Edelman, who should just not even be on the list. DK Metcalf, maybe.
I agree with DK.
I think DK is good. I don't know if I would place him right there. I'd have to think about that a bit more. T.Y. Hilton, Calvin Ridley, Robert Woods, Cooper Kupp, Tyler Lockett, Juju, and Stephon Diggs to round out tier 4 wide receivers. That is crazy to me. Adam Thielen is probably near the top of the list of the guys that I just said.
Yes.
So that's insane.
I think there's 1 or 2 of them I would have placed above him out of the entire list.
Would you just flip-flop Stephon Diggs at 17 with Adam Thielen at 26?
Yeah, but I'm also moving a couple of those other players.
Yeah. So that one's crazy.
Like you said, Julian Edelman needs to go back about 30 places.
Yeah, Julian Edelman, I don't even know. We don't know who's throwing that guy the ball next season. We don't know if he's healthy. It's reported that he just had a surgery.
And he is in legal trouble. If it's not Tom Brady throwing him the ball, then I don't want him.
Yeah, absolutely. So right now, I mean, keep an eye on Adam Thielen. If he's just going to sink down there, you could have Adam Thielen as your 3rd wide receiver
for free. It's a donation. It's a donation. Someone's like, here you go. Yeah. Have a couple hundred extra points on your fantasy season.
Yeah, pretty wild. That one was the craziest for me. So I think what I'm going to do, Justin, is I'm going to pull up a couple of these for our episodes here going forward, because I think it should be talked about early on in the process of creating our own rankings.
I've actually started doing mine.
Yeah. Pretty wild. Adam Thielen, 26th wide receiver.
That blows my mind. I haven't got to the Vikings yet, but I can guarantee you that I don't have Adam Thielen that low.
Yeah.
And I can also guarantee I do not have Stephon Diggs ahead of Adam Thielen.
Right.
Oh,
okay. That's all I had to talk about today. Kind of a shorter episode, I think. Or,
yeah.
Like 35 minutes.
Yeah, somewhere around there.
So I think we're going to be having my buddy Noah on Tuesday to talk about planning a Super Bowl party, some games you can play during a Super Bowl party with your guests,
some prop bets and things like that.
Yeah, and then maybe some recipes or some food, really fun food ideas, quick, easy, but also throwing a party. You want to impress, right? So
delicious.
Yeah, Noah has his own podcast where it's all about barbecuing and creating delicious meals, and so he'll be a fun guest to have on. I've known him for a long time. Really nice guy.
His podcast is Cheeky Barbecue.
Yep.
So make sure you check them out too. He also has Twitter, so you could follow him on there as well.
Yep. Really great guy, and he should be on Tuesday. So I think we'll have a show come out probably Tuesday night or Wednesday. So,
yeah.
But Other than that, we got a Super Bowl extravaganza.
Man, that's going to be wild. I'm super excited for that.
Lots of cool guests, lots of people helping collab with that. So that'll be a lot of fun. Other than that, just please like, subscribe, comment, and tell me why Justin should grow a beard.